Yo, what's good chat? Welcome to the GalickVerse. Scan that QR code to donate and keep the channel alive.
The fabric of reality shatters. An unprecedented surge of destruction energy rips through the void, pulling the Saiyan prince into the absolute unknown. Even the unmatched power of an elite warrior struggles against the sheer gravitational force of a broken multiverse. He refuses to yield, pushing his divine aura to the absolute limit, but the rift is hungry for energy. His ultimate attack is devoured in an instant, proving this phenomenon operates on rules far beyond mortal comprehension. With a violent snap of gravity, the prince of all Saiyans is swallowed by the dimensional tear, plunging into the abyss. Trapped in the corridor between worlds, the intense dimensional pressure begins to violently strip away his godly essence. To survive the breach into a foreign universe, his body pays the ultimate toll, sacrificing every ounce of his divine energy. Downgraded and exhausted, his power rapidly plummets, stripping him down to his most fundamental Saiyan limits. Stripped of his god ki and unconscious, the proud warrior crosses the final threshold, entering a world governed by entirely different rules. Like a falling star wrapped in fire, the anomaly breaks the atmosphere of the shinobi world, signaling an impending disaster. The sheer physical mass of the Saiyan tears through the ancient forest, entirely bypassing the village's sensory defenses. The catastrophic impact shakes the very foundation of the land of fire, echoing far beyond the hidden village's ruined walls. Alerted by the massive tremor, Kawaki rushes toward the impact zone, his instincts screaming that this is no ordinary threat. Expecting to find a newly arrived Otsutsuki or a rogue Shinju, he instead finds a scene that defies all logic. His senses are perfectly honed, yet his internal radar encounters a terrifying void of familiar energy.
What the hell is this? I can't sense a single drop of chakra from whatever made that crater!
Miraculously surviving a multidimensional crash without his divine protection, the prince rises from the ashes of an unknown world. Stripped of his god ki, his body feels unimaginably heavy, yet his warrior instincts remain sharper than a freshly honed blade. Drawn by the massive life force radiating from the crash, the mindless remnants of the god tree close in for the kill. These monsters have terrorized the greatest ninjas alive, treating every living being purely as food for their evolution. But they have no idea what kind of apex predator just dropped into their hunting grounds. The creature strikes with blinding speed, a blow meant to instantly impale and drain its victim. A flawless, effortless dodge. His base reaction speed is still light years beyond the comprehension of these mindless beasts. No ki blasts, no transformations. Just the raw, unadulterated physical might of Saiyan biology delivering pure destruction. One punch is all it takes to obliterate the threat, sending a clear message to anything else lurking in the shadows. Driven by mindless hunger, the remaining monsters launch a synchronized aerial assault, hoping to overwhelm him with numbers. But numbers mean absolutely nothing when facing a martial arts genius forged in the fires of intergalactic war. A flawless, devastating strike. The apex predators of this world are swatted away like mere insects in seconds.
You pathetic bugs think you can lay a finger on the Prince of all Saiyans? Don't make me laugh!
Witnessing this impossible display of power without a single ounce of chakra, Kawaki realizes the rules of his universe have just been permanently rewritten. Stepping out from the shadows of the canopy, the vessel of Otsutsuki power confronts the alien trespasser standing at the center of destruction. Accustomed to dominating every battlefield in the leaf, Kawaki approaches with cold arrogance, unaware that he is staring down a true cosmic elite. Frustrated by the stranger's complete lack of readable chakra, Kawaki decides to force an answer using the absolute might of his karma. The sinister mark of Ishiki Otsutsuki flares to life, granting him supernatural strength meant to subdue any ninja in existence.
I don't know what kind of freak you are, but you're trespassing! Get on your knees before I make you!
Hearing the boy's threat, the prince of all Saiyans does not feel anger, but rather a profound, insulting amusement. Launching himself with lethal intent, Kawaki aims a decapitating strike that would sever even the strongest defense in the shinobi world. To any ninja, this attack is an unavoidable execution, but to a veteran of universal warfare, it moves in agonizing slow motion. The absolute gap in raw physical durability is exposed instantly as the weapon is halted dead in its tracks by two bare fingers. His mind reels in absolute horror as the immense, borrowed power of an Otsutsuki encounters an immovable wall of Saiyan biology. With a casual squeeze, the ultimate biological weapon of the Leaf Village is shattered like a brittle piece of dry glass. A textbook martial arts counterattack. The prince delivers a precise, non-lethal strike meant to teach a lesson in true combat hierarchy. Sent flying across the desolate arena, the prideful boy is grounded by a warrior who hasn't even begun to take the fight seriously. His internal organs rattle from the sheer physical trauma, forcing his borrowed seal to destabilize under the pressure. Refusing to accept humiliation, Kawaki desperately resorts to a long-range energy blast to level the playing field. A destructive wave of pure chakra erupts across the crater, carrying enough force to vaporize a squad of elite shinobi. An absolute mockery of his power. The destructive beam is swatted away like a bothersome fly without taking a single step back. Looking down at the boy's desperate reliance on his seal, Vegeta sees the pathetic reflection of his own past under Frieza's rule.
Is that all? You strut around acting tough, but take away that cheap tattoo and you're just a fragile little kid.
Those harsh words strike deeper than any physical blow, exposing the fragile illusion of strength Kawaki has built around his cursed seal. Every step the Saiyan takes exudes the crushing weight of a true elite who earned his power through decades of blood and agony. For the first time since gaining his karma, Kawaki realizes that borrowed alien power is completely meaningless against a superior biological foundation. He recognizes the boy's arrogance all too well. It is the same empty pride of a soldier who relies on a master's weapon instead of his own fists. With his energy drained and his spirit shaken, the cursed seal recedes, leaving Kawaki entirely stripped of his supernatural protection. Stripped of his arrogant facade, he is forced to confront the harsh reality of his own fundamental weakness. Instead of finishing him off, Vegeta turns away, his seasoned instincts detecting a much larger disturbance lingering in this unfamiliar world. He makes it abundantly clear that true warriors do not hide behind borrowed seals, they forge their own strength through suffering. Humiliated but unbroken, a spark of genuine grit ignites within Kawaki, refusing to let this brutal defeat be the end of his story. An unlikely dynamic is forged in the ashes of battle, connecting a prideful alien prince and a lost boy searching for absolute power. As darkness settles over the forest of death, the stage is set for a brutal lesson in what it truly means to be a warrior. Exhausted from the brutal clash, the young shinobi offers his only source of sustenance to the alien warrior who easily crushed his pride. To a Saiyan accustomed to massive feasts, this compact military ration looks more like a pebble than an actual meal. Assuming it's just some concentrated earth food, he takes a bite, completely unprepared for the ninja world's culinary horrors. Even a warrior who survived the vacuum of space and the wrath of gods cannot stomach the atrocious taste of a raw chakra pill. Insulted by the terrible flavor, his Saiyan pride rejects the meager offering with a literal burst of fiery indignation. Kawaki can only watch in speechless disbelief, realizing his lethal opponent is throwing a tantrum over a simple field ration. Refusing to starve on ninja food, the prince ventures into the deadly wilderness, driven by the most primal Saiyan instinct of all, immense hunger. Left alone in the silence of the ruined battlefield, the boy's mind immediately drifts back to his own failures and heavy burdens. But the quiet reflection is violently interrupted as a localized earthquake tears through the tree line. In less time than it takes to blink, the apex predator has claimed a bounty worthy of his royal appetite. A monstrous threat to any ordinary ninja is nothing but a late-night snack for a warrior from the stars. Stripped of his god ki, his biological need for raw calories is astronomical, driving an eating pace that defies human limits. For a boy raised in the brutal discipline of Kara, witnessing such unhinged, comedic gluttony is utterly paralyzing. The brief moment of levity fades, replaced instantly by the crushing weight of his sins and the Hokage he locked away. He sees right through the boy's tough exterior, recognizing a soul drowning in extreme, misguided devotion.
You think locking away the one you love makes you a savior? Wake up, kid. It just makes you a coward.
The brutal truth strikes a massive nerve, threatening to unleash the volatile rage that Kawaki uses to shield his broken heart. But the Saiyan does not flinch. Instead, his gaze shifts inward, traveling back through decades of cosmic bloodshed and profound regrets. He remembers the agonizing centuries of his youth, serving a merciless tyrant just to guarantee the survival of his own life. He knows perfectly well the illusion of control that comes from living in a cage built by absolute fear. The raw authenticity in the warrior's voice pierces Kawaki's emotional armor, forcing him to genuinely listen to the harsh lesson. By sealing away his savior to protect him, Kawaki hasn't saved anyone, he has merely become a warden of his own despair. He mercilessly tears apart the boy's twisted logic. A cage doesn't protect a family, it only suffocates the ones you claim to love. For the prince, true salvation did not come from conquering the universe, but from the fragile, mortal family that anchored his soul. He accepts his attachments not as a weakness to be hidden, but as the ultimate catalyst for unimaginable power. True strength isn't about isolating yourself in fear. It's about letting the immense weight of those you love push you past your mortal limits. The philosophical shackles that bound his mind finally shatter, replaced by an absolute clarity he has never known before. He finally understands that to truly protect the Hokage, he must become a warrior strong enough to stand in the light, not hide in the dark. The lesson is concluded. The prince demands no gratitude, only that the boy stops whining and starts acting like a true fighter. Under the vast shinobi sky, an unlikely bond is forged in the flames, preparing them for the apocalyptic nightmare that is about to arrive. The quiet night is violently shattered as the very fabric of space twists open, heralding the arrival of an apocalyptic threat. The apex predators of the shinobi world have arrived, drawn directly to the massive, alien energy signature that crashed into their domain. A horrifying truth is revealed. The god tree's roots have fed on the massive god ki that leaked from Vegeta during his crash.
Such exquisite, violent energy. To think a mere mortal could house the power of the cosmos within his flesh.
The Shinju leader evolves into a catastrophic hybrid, merging the pinnacle of shinobi chakra with the raw, destructive biology of a Saiyan. The overwhelming atmospheric pressure alone is enough to bring a seasoned karma vessel completely to his knees in pure agony. For the first time in years, the prince finds himself in a desperate corner, drained of his god ki and facing his own stolen strength. Empowered by alien biology, Jura's speed shatters the physical limits of his world, moving faster than the naked eye can possibly track. Closing the distance instantly, the Shinju leader launches an assault carrying the mass of a falling meteor. Though his reflexes remain sharp, Vegeta's exhausted physical state leaves him struggling to anchor himself against the overwhelming force. Driven backward like a mere ragdoll, the stark reality of his depleted stamina becomes a terrifying, immediate crisis. With the Saiyan distracted, Sasuke's monstrous clone seizes the opportunity to eliminate the vulnerable karma vessel. Forced to rely on his cursed seal once more, Kawaki barely deflects the assassination attempt, fighting a desperate battle for survival. The Shinju leader presses the attack relentlessly, using the Saiyan's own boundless energy reserves to completely dictate the rhythm of combat. Fusing the ultimate tailed beast weapon with stolen Saiyan power, Jura prepares an attack capable of vaporizing an entire country. Refusing to yield, the proud warrior catches the beam bare-handed, his muscles screaming under the agonizing heat of his own stolen strength. Pushed to the brink, the prince taps into his legendary golden form, igniting a beacon of pure, unstoppable rage in the dark. Even the emotionless Shinju leader is taken aback by this spectacular, blinding display of cosmic evolution. Empowered by rage, the Golden Warrior launches a ferocious counterattack, intent on obliterating the parasite that stole his pride. The collision of original Saiyan might and stolen, hybridized chakra sends an apocalyptic tremor across the entire land of fire. But Jura is no mere brawler. Combining sacred ninja arts with cosmic energy, he unleashes an unpredictable, lethal technique. Caught off guard by the bizarre nature of ninjutsu, the prince is ensnared by living wood, enhanced to withstand his immense strength. A calculated, ruthless strike. The enemy capitalizes on the trap, delivering a paralyzing blow that threatens to break the Saiyan's ribcage. Without his god ki to sustain his stamina, the incredible strain of the Super Saiyan form begins to tear his exhausted body apart. Watching the seemingly invincible warrior struggle, Kawaki is overwhelmed by the horrifying realization that they might actually die here. Showing zero mercy, the Shinju leader prepares a point-blank execution, intending to erase the prince from existence entirely.
You really think my own power is enough to put me down, you overgrown weed?
Through sheer, unadulterated willpower and boundless pride, he shatters the unbreakable jutsu, proving his spirit is infinitely stronger than his flesh. A savage, unorthodox counterattack. The Saiyan sacrifices elegance for pure brutality, stunning the monster with a devastating blow. But the nightmare deepens. The fusion of Tentail's biology grants the creature instantaneous, horrifying regeneration. Unaffected by the damage, Jura counters with lethal precision, burying the exhausted prince under a mountain of shattered stone. Battered, drained, and fighting a superior reflection of his own power, the Saiyan prince faces a seemingly insurmountable wall of despair.
Vegeta is actually struggling. Kawaki, do something, man. Step up right now.
Sensing the prince's vulnerability, the Shinju leaders combine their devastating powers to deliver an inescapable, apocalyptic execution. Pinned beneath tons of rock and drained of his god ki, the legendary Saiyan finds himself completely defenseless against the incoming nightmare. A cataclysmic strike descends with the force of a natural disaster, threatening to erase the proud warrior from existence. But before the lethal blow can land, a crimson flash of defiance intercepts the path of total destruction. Refusing to cower in the shadows anymore, Kawaki steps up to become the ultimate living shield. The sheer volume of the hybrid attack threatens to tear his arm apart, pushing his karma absorption to its absolute breaking point. Witnessing the boy risk his own life, the prince realizes his harsh lesson has finally forged a true warrior's spirit.
I'm not hiding in the shadows anymore! I decide who lives and dies!
Against all odds, the cursed vessel devours the apocalyptic strike, creating an absolute sanctuary amidst the total devastation. The Shinju leader's absolute calculation is shattered by the unpredictable, stubborn will of human defiance. Bought just enough time by the boy's sacrifice, the prince shatters his rocky tomb, his pride burning hotter than ever.
Took you long enough, kid. Try not to slow me down.
A silent, unbreakable pact is formed. The arrogant alien and the broken ninja unite to deliver absolute cosmic retribution. Launching an unprecedented, cross-universal assault, the unlikely duo moves in perfect, lethal synchronization. The monstrous clone intercepts, aiming a fatal lightning strike to break their coordinated momentum. But Kawaki flawlessly executes his role, parrying the lethal blow to create the ultimate blind spot for his new mentor. A seamless transition of violence. The prince uses the boy's defense as a launchpad, turning defense into absolute destruction. A devastating aerial strike removes the clone from the equation, clearing the path directly to the main target. Panicking, the Shinju leader unleashes a desperate, overwhelming barrage to halt their impossible momentum. But ninjutsu is utterly useless. Kawaki paves a flawless, untouchable highway through the deadly rain of wood. Riding the slipstream of his protege, the prince closes the gap in a blinding flash of golden fury. The heavy strike connects, shattering the enemy's guard and rattling his stolen, hybridized bones. Desperate to regain control, Jura attempts a blind counterattack, leaving a fatal opening in his defense. A fatal miscalculation. The boy exploits the blind spot perfectly, delivering a bone-crushing blow that sends the monster crashing down. An impossible alliance forged in the fires of battle. The shinobi world bears witness to the most devastating tag team in multiversal history. Battered and reeling from the brutal combo attack, the monster struggles to stand, completely unaware that his trap has already been sprung.
You're not going anywhere, freak! Do it now!
Putting his life on the line, the young shinobi anchors the enemy in place, creating a singular, narrow window for total annihilation. With the target immobilized, the Saiyan prince leaps back, spreading his arms to gather the absolute final embers of his primal energy. Compressing every remaining calorie into an ultra-dense singularity, he prepares an attack that transcends the laws of this universe. The sheer density of the gathered power causes gravity itself to warp, heralding an execution from which there is no escape. For the first time in his artificial existence, the Shinju leader feels the cold, terrifying shadow of absolute oblivion. Channeling every grain of Saiyan pride into a singular point of ultimate destruction, he unleashes the devastating ultimate beam. A golden pillar of judgment pierces the morning mist, incinerating everything in its path with absolute cosmic finality. Carving a trench through solid rock, the hyperdense energy stream moves with unstoppable, divine momentum. Timing his escape to the exact millisecond, Kawaki leaps free, leaving the monster trapped in the golden inferno. Caught in the concentrated epicenter of cosmic annihilation, the Shinju leader is atomized down to his very last stolen cell. The hyperdense pressure does not merely destroy its target, it shatters the dimensional barrier of the shinobi world itself. Pushed beyond its physical threshold, space-time tears wide open, carving a gateway back to the Saiyan's native multiverse. The apocalyptic storm fades into absolute stillness, leaving behind a cleansed battlefield and an open path home. Completely spent, the golden transformation recedes, leaving the prince standing tall amidst the quiet ashes of victory. His cursed seal deactivates, leaving the young ninja transformed not by alien power, but by the unforgettable wisdom of a true warrior. With his task fulfilled and his pathway reopened, the Prince of all Saiyans prepares to return to his own universe. No words are needed between them, the bond forged in blood and pride transcends the boundaries of speech.
Don't get lazy, kid. Next time I see you, you better be standing on your own 2 feet.
A silent vow is made, a promise to honor the Saiyan's legacy by forging his own strength through blood and pride. Crossing the threshold between realities, the prince steps back into the stars, leaving an indelible mark on the shinobi world. With a quiet snap of gravity, the dimensional bridge closes, sealing the legendary warrior safely back into his own universe. Dawn breaks over Konohagakure, illuminating a world saved not by fear or isolation, but by the triumph of true warrior pride. No longer a prisoner of his past or a puppet of borrowed power, the boy stands renewed, carrying the fire of a true warrior within. He looks toward the village he swore to protect, ready to face whatever darkness comes next with his own unyielding fists. The successor of pride steps into the light, prepared to forge a destiny that no fate or cursed mark can ever control. And so, the legacy of the Saiyan Prince lives on in a world of ninjas, forever changing the fate of the multiverse.
Best crossover ever. Hit that subscribe button and drop your wild theories. Oh, and please, donate to me.